the example that I'm going to do, hopefully A, B, C, will look so similar that you're like, oh, that's it? Yep, that's it. So here's the deal. When you have a fraction, there are two things kind of, if you will, kind of balancing on the top. The rule is the top will allow things to fall off either side. If you have two things on the top of the table, and the C is holding the table up, if B fell off the table, okay, no problem. That's one way that I can rewrite this thing differently. A is still on top of the table, B fell off, okay, so that's one way I can write it. The second way I can write it out of three, and then I'm going to do all three of them, is what if A fell off the table and B stayed on top? Okay, that'd be fine. That's two ways so far. The last way can't really be demonstrated with the A and the B, but basically I actually multiply them out to get a full answer where they're both on top, but now they're all mixed in together. So what are your three choices? B falls off, A falls off, or we mix them together. That's what we're going to do. So here's kind of what they look like with the A and the B and the C. Starts off that way. Choice number one, B falls off. What does that look like? A stays on top, C is on the bottom. When B falls off, it hooks on the side like that. Please write that down. Now again, we're going to do this with the ugly ones, but I just want you to see it with the simplified version. That way, and actually let me write that B in a different color so it stands out even more. They're like, oh, okay. This is A over C times B. In other words, the fraction times the letter. If something's on top of a fraction, it can be multiplied. It can't get down to the bottom, but it can't fall off the side. There's one version. Here comes the other version, where A is going to fall off on the side. Oh, no, let me have you. Let me see what you would write down. If you're writing the version where A falls off and B stays on top of the table, write down here what that would look like. I want to see what you would guess. In other words, on the middle one, we wrote, oh, B fell off, and now it's right next door to the original. I want you to write down what it would look like if A fell off, and it was right next door to the original. Guess what that might look like, and then I'll write it. This way, to say out loud what I might want to write down.
I put A times C.
I'll write that one in green where the A is now in front, or actually write the A over C or the B over C first.
And B over C first times A.
Now, it is true, some of you could have chosen to put the A behind.
I put times C, because I thought the C was at the bottom.
No, so it starts off originally like this. And then, and I probably should have written it going across. But again, let's see if I can do, this is one version. There's the second version. Now, there is a variation that is okay, but it's not different. In other words, hey, if the A were at the back, would that be correct? Yes, it would be correct. It fell off the table. Now, I made mine fall off to the front, but you would have made your A fall off to the back. But what's important is only one guy at the top at a time. The neighbor goes on the outside. The last part can't really be shown because I don't have the two pieces to do all the multiplying. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. To get 2 out of 3, nice and easy, do me a favor. This first piece is like your A. This second piece is like your B. And of course, this bottom piece is like your C. For the real problem, please write down the two equivalent C's. One where the B falls off, and it's right behind it. One where the A falls off, and it's right in front of it. So you can write that down really fast, and that way you'll feel like, oh, okay, this is starting nice and easy. This is part of Unit 5. I'm going to be testing on this in just a moment. When you get your test, you can do this problem first, even though by the time we finish,
We're going to test it in?
yeah. But if by test I mean do one of these problems, big deal. Filling in the answers for those. If you missed today the video, so the first version was the blue, and the second version was the green. Let's see, I'm going to put back in my 5x and my x minus 1. Take a look at your answer, see that it matches. I don't expect this part to be extra hard, but sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. Take a look, see if anybody want to. The top, we're going to multiply the top out. I'm going to erase my A, my B, and C, and remind you that you can make the x red and you could make the 3 blue. And we're going to just do what's called the FOIL method. You take the first guy and you distribute him. You give him, or you multiply him times the first guy. You multiply him times the second guy. Now, where are we going to write this? I don't know, maybe to the side. I don't know where I'm going to write mine. Where you choose to write yours, I don't know. Maybe you can write a brand new problem somewhere. But the blue, you multiply times the 5, and you multiply times the 2. Once you get that answer and combine it, it'll be a long answer on top and the same bottom answer. That would be the third way. So again, you have 2 easies and a medium. Try to do the medium. Now again, I wrote mine directly on there, but you may have different space on your paper where you can rewrite this problem somewhere where it can go. I'll probably write mine all the way at the very bottom when it's time. So go ahead and try doing what's called the FOIL method and get that. I'm going to rewrite it with an x and a 3 and a 5x and a 2. Let me do something that I heard someone say, which I've never really done before, but I guess it can make some sense. Watch this. Technically, we're going to be multiplying the x times that, so I can write an x, where I'm going to write it, I'll write it here, I'm going to write the x, and then I'm going to put the 5x minus 2, which is like doing the x times the 5 and x minus 2, but I'm just making it a single problem. I'm going to see what that feels like. Then the second part is, of course, I'm going to multiply the 3, let's say if I had a 3, and I multiply it times the 5x minus 2. It's like doing the second part, but I'm making it almost like it's 2 separate problems. Now, some of us won't need this, but I thought, well, can we try this? Could be interesting in terms of it being clear. So here we go. X times 5x, someone please say it out loud.
5x squared.
5x squared. Someone different, x times a negative 2.
Negative x. Negative x. Negative. Yes, put that.
All right, now it hooks on to the back of there. So there's the first part. Now some people, when they see it up here, it seems like a lot is going on, but really, what we just did here is what you do the first time, 5 times the x and 5 times 2. All right, or rather the x times the 5x and the x times the 2. On the blue guys down here, same thing.
15x.
15x.
Minus 6x.
There's no x back
minus
there.
6.
Mm-hmm. Take a look at the blue, see if you feel okay with the blue. 3 times a 5 is 15. 3 times a negative 2 is a negative 6. And so this is the third part. Here's how I saw some people write their answer on top. There are 2 versions, but it says an equivalent version of what I saw on some papers with the 4 pieces is correct. In other words, the red stuff, the 5x squared minus the 2x, and then the blue stuff right following it, because it's part of one long problem. I've broken it into 2 pieces, but it's one long problem. All over the, is it x minus 1?
Yes.
That is one version. That's an equivalent version. The one that I thought they would have expected, and I probably, just in case you want a 4th one, which you don't need, is if you combine the 2 middle terms. What would be in the middle if we combine those?
Plus 13x.
Plus 13x. Do you have to combine them for this problem? I think officially, no, you don't have to, because it says just 3 equivalent forms. Pause, take a look at it. If you need to write something down, write it so it's not all. And do me a favor, also put yours in a box too. I think when I went out to check some, I kind of got lost in there. I couldn't quite see where that final answer was. So go ahead and put that in them. On this page, find the 3 equivalent expressions. To multiply this guy out will be one of them. To write what it means to have something squared will be a second one of them. And then finally, I kind of want to say, let's see if I can have some. Let's try it this way. That way, again, we can do it with A's, B's, and C's. Let's say we had A squared. Sure, I'll make it plus 5. What's another way to write A squared? A times A, just. Write them as next door neighbors. Whatever the A is, whatever the thing is raised to the power. And I guess I don't even need this, that guy in there. Here is one way to rewrite this. Now again, notice this. I just took this big ugly thing and called it the letter A. That way it doesn't look so complicated. This is how we write it here. Do me a favor. Please write a new expression for the original based on what you see here. And just a hint for some people, this x minus 2 in parentheses is what A is. So that when you rewrite this guy twice, hopefully that kind of helps a little. As I'm putting in the A, I just kind of want to, instead of having it have 2 pieces of parentheses, I want to feel like, hey, what would you do if it's just a single little piece with a 5? Oh, I just split it into 2, just write it twice. What if I had this big thing with a 2 and a 5? Oh, just write it twice.
I think I did.
All right, someone tell me, what am I writing for this the first separate expression? What am I writing with this x minus 2? Someone say? Now, I saw a few good answers out there.
X minus 2 times x minus 2 plus
Uh-huh. X minus 2. Just like Marco was saying, x minus 2 plus the 5. Take a look at it. And I tried to even write the same color so you can feel like, oh, okay, I see what happened there. Anybody want to ask a question about this piece here?
So say we do the performance tasks, we don't do the final test at the end of the unit.
The performance task is the final test. So Unit 5 isn't new stuff. It's technically reviewing old stuff and then having you take a mini test on it. So you are right. There is no test after the performance task. The performance task is the test.
Are we going to be finished with Unit 5?
And this one you just did, so I'm going to have you do it again, but just quickly. Please multiply out the red stuff. In other words, FOIL the red stuff. For those who forgot what FOIL means, that's again where you
Well, I won't be excited.
take that guy and multiply there. Take the second guy and multiply there. Now it's going to start feeling long. Take a look here. The last part we did here was we just combined the 4 and the 5 to get the third version. The second version we multiplied out the red on this line, and that's what we have there. So all the stuff here is the red stuff from right above. Very nice, having a good morning. All right, here it comes. Here it comes. Step 1, do me a favor. Circle this minus sign right here.
It's hurtful.
That minus sign is going to be one of the signs that's going to try and mess you up in the end. But here's all they're asking you to do. Do the FOIL on the first 2 partners. Write that somewhere. Do the FOIL, where you do the rainbow, on the second 2 partners. Write those 4 answers somewhere. Last guy, he doesn't have anybody to multiply against, so he just comes down. Once you do the FOIL on the front one, you do it on the second one. Get your 4 pieces on the front, get 4 pieces on the middle. Then you're going to look for anyone who is a like term. In other words, who has, anybody here has a cube, an x to the 3rd power? Okay, we get together. Anybody have an x to the 2nd power? Okay, we get together. Anybody, you're just an x. Okay, just the x, we'll get together. And then lastly, are there any just regular numbers? We'll get together. So I'm going to give you about 4 minutes to start this one. You will have 2 of these on the performance task. So these 2 are the most important. So pretend like you just have,
So we have to put how it's
pretend like you have just one problem.
No, but I'm saying, do we have to FOIL?
Yes.
FOIL?
By the way, FOILing means you are multiplying those 2 parentheses. And I hate that this is a super big one. This is the last one before I take any questions, and we'll show all the work. But when you get your test, or your performance task rather, the first 2 problems will be super big, like this. And then when you turn on the back page, that's where you'll have the 2 small ones. So I'm actually going to recommend do the 2 small ones first, and then come and do the 2 big ones last. But again, if anyone sees too much, start with just those 2, and FOIL those 2, and then from there, move on to the middle 2, and we'll tell you what's going to happen with that red minus sign in the middle section.
Actually, we add all of them together. We're gonna have to subtract something.
We're gonna have to change the signs on all the answers in the middle.
That is bogus. It's her.
So piece by piece, this one I need to give you time on. On the last part, you can just strip off the parentheses because there's nothing to multiply. You can just tear it off. Now, I don't know what the final answer is, so I'm going to come start check marking that you're beginning. If there's someone next to you, be willing to share if they want to check in on that. Who are good at it, thanks for your patience. Not everyone actually sees it as easily as you do, which is an interesting thing because really you're just multiplying twice. In other words, I'm going to take 3x, and I'm going to multiply it times the first guy, and I'm going to take 3x again, multiply it times the second guy. Some people, when they see it, and I don't know how they see it, I don't know what they see, but it seems like a tricky process. The arrows are actually just to tell you, all right, do it to the first guy. 3 times 2 is a 6. X times x is an x squared. Feels easy. I'm not sure what makes it tricky. Then I'm going to do the same thing all over again. The 3x times the 1. 3 times a negative 1 is a negative 3. And that's the beginning of the middle piece. There's the second part. There always has to be 4 pieces. You are handed out to 2 guys, then you're handed out to 2 guys. Now, I'm doing this one all in black so that this red minus sign will do something. Let's see here. A 4 times a 2 is an 8. 4 times a negative 1 is a negative 4. Take a look at the middle if you had any trouble with it. All right, here's the real deal. In the middle section, this minus sign says, once you get your 4 pieces, I want the opposite sign of what they were originally. Here's the original in black. I'm going to rewrite what this middle section should be in red once a minus sign affected. Can someone say what's the opposite of a positive 6?
Negative 6.
Negative 6, no big deal. Opposite of a 3?
Plus 3x minus 8x plus 4.
The opposite of a positive 8?
Negative.
And the opposite of a negative 4? Yeah. So that minus sign means I want the opposite. Some students usually just tack on the minus sign to the 3 or to the 6 and they leave everybody else the same. And that will mess you up.
So,
all right, and the last piece has nothing to do. I'm writing in blue. This last piece is just as is. All right. Pause. Take a look at this. This is not the final answer. The final answer we have like terms. I'm gonna go hunting now for to put in the proper order. Technically, you do it. The largest exponent gets to go first. The big brother gets to go first. Then the second largest exponent, the 2's go second. And the x's go third. And then the regular numbers called constants go last. So let me see. How many x squares are there in this one?
2.
Oh, I'm sorry. How many x cubes are there in this one?
1.
Okay, we got the 1 x cube. I see him here. I'll even write him directly below himself. The others won't get to go below themselves. But I'll write him in. Sure, I'll do them on back. All right, we have 2x squared, there's a 5x squared, and there's a minus 6. This is where, again, some people are going to have trouble. 5 minus 6 is what? Anyone know?
1.
It's 1, but it's a negative 1.
Negative 1.
I'm actually going to put that negative 1 there, though in real life they wouldn't write that 1, but just so people will see it. All right, the other thing, if you have a highlighter, you can highlight the things in the same colors. So let's say some people want to highlight these guys. I wish I had a highlighter here. Would it let me do it? Will you let me do it? Will you let me do it? If I go here. All right, it says no. That's fine. Highlight these 2 on your paper in the same colors, so that way you see that, oh, these 2 guys are going together. Now, not everyone needs this, but some people this might help you out. All right, that's fine. We need x's. How many x's are there?
3. No.
I see 1.
Yeah, 3.
I see 2. And I see 3.
And then there's 4 at the end.
Oh, yeah, there's a 4th one over here. Again, if I had a highlighter, I would have highlighted all those in the same color. I'm going to see if it really will. Why would it let me do it? Okay, I tried twice. The same move, I guess I'm trying something different. For these, I'm going to write down the actual numbers so I can add the 4 numbers. There's a 1 for this green X. There's a plus 3 for the red one, a minus 8 for that one, and a blue 1 for that last one.
So it'd be
3.
I hear 3, but let me do it in order. That way, for those who need to see it, because not anyone's super fast on this one. I know 1 plus 3 is a 4. 4. Sure, I'll put the minus 8 down. 4 minus an 8 is a negative 4. And then that 1 comes down. So it's negative 4 plus a 1. This is why they're going to allow me to give you points even if your sign's a little bit off. Because the main thing is this big first long line. Yeah.
So it's not 3. Okay.
So it's a minus 3 for the regular x's.
Are you dying over there?
And then the last piece, positive regular numbers, there's a regular 5. Any other regular numbers? A regular 4. Any other regular numbers? A regular 1. Now why they would choose to make this so big and long, and why they would have you do 2 of them, I'm not sure. So I apologize for whoever thought this was a good idea. Oh no!
Oh no.
Yeah, it's gonna cancel out.
So there's nothing.
Right. This negative 5 up here, the green negative 5. Where can I even write this now? This green negative 5 that I have here, the plus 4, and the plus 1. Oh man. Really? You guys would do this to them? Alright, in any case, this part here is a 5. He's a 5, so I wind up with negative 5 plus 5.
0.
Really?
Yay!
Alright. I'm going to box my answer, and I apologize to you as a math person.
So
There's
who
so
made?
much going on there.
So who made this? So we did all that work to end up with 0.
No, this is the answer here.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying at the end of the
Yeah.
day, we did all this work so we can end up with 0.
Mhm. All right. Take a look at it. See if it's something